Hello everyone, Ted Williams here with TedWilliams3rd.com. If you've been watching the news, you have heard that the Trump administration is ending the DACA program. Well, what is DACA and what does it have to do with you? I'm glad you asked that question. Let's talk about it. So, DACA, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, is a 2012 executive order passed by the Obama administration to cover the 800,000 children of people who came across the border illegally. What it does is it provides extensive vetting for these children to make sure that they are not some threat to national security, but it also then provides for a pathway, a 2-year protection against deportation and a pathway, if you will, to college enrollment, work visas, and also driver's licenses, essentially clearing out a way for them to participate in the American culture, but also really enforcing that they are being productive members of society, if you will. So DACA is not a full amnesty program, as people would say, but DACA really delays action on what we are going to do about these folks who are in the country due to no fault of their own. Now, at the time that Obama passed this executive order, the Congress had just failed to pass the DREAM Act, which would have given them a long-term solution, which would have given them full citizenship in the long run, college support, etc. That did not pass, and so President Obama essentially passed something to protect them temporarily. Now, because this is temporary, President Trump is actually ending the program, throwing it back to the Congress and giving them 6 months to come up with a piece of legislation to deal with this issue long term. If they don't deal with it in 6 months, it is possible that he could renew the DACA program if he wanted, but the fact of the matter is we will see. Now, the people on the left are suggesting that these folks are vulnerable and they need to be protected. They were children when they came here, and they have been here due to no fault of their own. Folks on the right are suggesting we have to have strong borders. We cannot give amnesty to illegal immigrants. What is the reality? What should we think? Well, I believe, like many issues, folks, that there are ways to accomplish more than one thing. I say this consistently: we can walk and we can chew gum. We can protect our borders, not allow for any and everyone to come into the country, while yet and still show compassion towards people who are here. That's the public policy principle. Do not let the media or what you hear from the political figures create this false sense of discord and disconnection in this country, in which we cannot come up with bipartisan solutions. I believe that we can do both. I don't know anybody on the left who's saying that we should not have borders at all. I just don't. I think that people on the left are saying, let's not be hypocritical and let's not attack those who are marginalized, and let's not ignore the corporations who are basically fueling the reason why the folks are coming into the country anyway. If we spend as much time dealing with that, maybe hitting the issue at the source and not at the downstream, if you will, maybe, just maybe, we would change the situation around illegal immigration. I do understand why people on the right want strong borders. It does make sense at some level. And so I don't think that we're talking about lawlessness here. We're talking about fairness. We have to look at immigration holistically. President Bush, a couple years back, prior to President Obama, put forth a guest worker program that many on the right were very upset about. But this is very similar to what Obama did. So actually what Obama did was really a continuation of President Bush's solution to this question, because the fact of the matter is, if you have 11 million people in the country illegally, you cannot deport them all. Anybody with common sense understands that. So what do we have to do? We've got to help bring people out of the shadows. We have to help people to have a viable life in this country so that they can benefit from the American dream and be productive members of society, which they clearly are. Real quickly, I want to just say this, and I think people know this. The fact of the matter is, we're talking about primarily immigration from Mexico. 78% of these 800,000 kids that we're talking about come from Mexico, but they also come from places like the Caribbean and other places that are very close in our hemisphere, close to North America. So what do, right? I think that we have to have compassion always, but it is possible to have compassion and also enforce law. It is okay. No one is arguing for complete and total lawlessness on this. I think American history, we have to think about, and I know that a lot of the opposition on the left to strong immigration policies really comes from a place where people recognize the hypocrisy in America setting borders and boundaries after we have essentially committed genocide against Native Americans, fought wars with the Spanish and the Mexicans for this land. That is history, that is true, and we have to recognize that because I think it does color these conversations. However, I don't know what's going to happen. We will see what's going to happen, but I really think that we have to reject partisanship on this, and we have to look for solutions that work for everybody. If we take off our labels for a moment, I think that we can get to some real practical solutions. Those are my thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. I'd love to hear yours. Have a great day. Take care.